telling you who is going to make the college football playoffs and who is going to win it all. Starting out with the ACC championship game, Duke UVA. Look, if UVA wins, they are a pretty much a lock. I don't think they're going to get the job done. Look, I think Duke is the better team. Duke is not playing with any pressure. And maybe Duke thinks they have an outside shot of making the playoffs, which we're going to find out, but I find unlikely. Now, Ohio State at Indiana, both 12-0. In a normal circumstance, this would be a massive game. This circumstance, it is so irrelevant. Look, if Ohio State or Indiana loses close, especially if Ohio State loses by a field goal, Indiana will be the 1 seed, Ohio State will be the 2 seed. Look, does it really matter? I'll go Ohio State, but I don't think this game has much relevance. Now, BYU at Texas Tech, I think this game does have a lot of relevance, and I think Texas Tech is going to win a low-scoring game. I think they're going to win 13-10, and the reason why that matters is BYU is currently inside the top 12, so can you really knock them for losing a conference championship game? We're going to find out. Georgia at Alabama, look, I think Georgia gets the job done. I think Georgia's the better team. Alabama doesn't really care for this game. They presumably will be in the playoffs regardless. North Texas, I think they get the job done in emphatic fashion and win a blowout over Tulane. Make their case for being that one of those 5 teams. Western Michigan wins, although it doesn't matter. We'll go Kent State. I think UNLV wins, and they kind of make their case. And I think JMU wins and makes their case. So we're going to see who ends up getting taken by the committee. After we pick Navy versus Army, we'll go Navy. And we've got the playoffs. So they put in Duke, surprisingly, and JMU. I don't totally love that, but look, I didn't make the selections. This is generated. Notre Dame takes on Oklahoma. I think Notre Dame is the better team. JMU plays Indiana. I find it ridiculous that Indiana would fall to number 5 with 1 loss. It doesn't make a ton of sense, but we'll go Indiana there. Doesn't really matter if they're playing JMU. Texas makes the playoffs. Once again, that is a stunner. I think Texas does beat Texas A&M again. Look, they just played, but I don't really think Texas should be in the playoffs. I don't think Duke should be in. I'm fine with JMU regardless. We'll go Ole Miss, although they don't have a coach and maybe they shouldn't be in the playoffs. Notre Dame at Ohio State. Look, I think Notre Dame will give them a run for their money, no doubt. I do think Ohio State gets the job done there. Indiana at Oregon. I've got to go Indiana. Look, it's tough to beat a good team twice. I think Indiana is a little bit more than a good team. In terms of Texas at Georgia, it would be crazy for a 3-loss Texas to make it in. And I don't think they should be in, to be clear. But I've got a feeling they beat Georgia. And we've got Ole Miss at Texas Tech. I think with Ole Miss losing their coach, with them losing some players, I think Texas Tech would get the job done. And this is a good side to be in of the bracket. You don't have really any juggernauts per se. Maybe you consider Georgia a juggernaut, but this side definitely has probably the 3, maybe even the 4 best teams, depending on how you view Notre Dame. Indiana at Ohio State. In this game, it actually matters. I think Indiana gets the job done, and it's going to be a close game. Look, these are the 2 best teams in college football. I think Texas Tech stifles Texas' offense, and I think Indiana wins it all.